Hi everyone, it's Ed from the Warriors Clan on State 270. So today's video I'm going to talk to you guys about the Showdown event. We've got it going live in about 4 hours time, and so I just want to make sure that everyone's up to speed, knowing what it's for, how to do it better, and make sure that us as Alliance we do it as smoothly as possible. So first things first. The Alliance gets some perks for taking part, and the better we do, the better our perks are individually and as a group. So I'm just going to quickly show you guys. We have, where is it? It's just up here. We've got a statue that we have. It's the gold tier statue because we're in the gold tier. So from this you can see we actually get a 3% gathering speed buff. Which is a permanent buff for everyone in our territory. And as we're located down in the Oasis now, most of you are now gathering, pretty much 24/7 on the level 8 resource spots. So that's definitely a perk worth having. So another thing that you need to well, I'll just quickly show you this actually. So the Showdown event, it's been updated recently. This is what it currently looks like, and when you're about to register your troops, you click on register. I'm sure you've done this all before. Click on a lane, and we'll talk about lanes in a second. Click on send your troops, and you choose your army and send them off. But before you do this, there's a few things you need to consider. So it's important that you have the best troops and the best heroes going along. So first things first, make sure all your heroes are at home. If they're out gathering, if they're off looting or whatever they might be doing, if they're not at home, you can't include them in your lineup for the Showdown event. So make sure they're all recalled before you do this. Also, you want to make sure your troops are as strong as possible. Now, right now we've got the training day on the Survival of the Fittest event. So most of you, hopefully all of you, will have been training your troops all day and hopefully using your speed ups on here as well. So if I have a quick look, the event starts in 3 hours and 49 minutes. I've got a bunch of troops upgrading from tier 8 to tier 9, so it's quite a nice situation for me here. And at various times I've got more troops being built and upgraded. Now ideally I want to have all of these troops that are being upgraded included in my Showdown lineup. So there's a few things to talk about here. So obviously there's assigning troops, there's the heroes, and there's also the march capacity. So let's just get march capacity out of the way. Simply, if you can send 100,000 troops or 110,000 troops, you're going to be stronger if you can send 110,000 troops. So there's a few things you can do periodically to make sure that your capacity is as high as it can be. So one of them is research. If you click on the research and look at the battle tree, I mean, you will have already completed some of the march capacity research options that increases your amount by a certain amount of troops each time. So 1,000 on that one, and 1,400 troops on that one, and there's another one here for 2,800, and there's another one here I've just started. I've done 2 out of 5 on this one. So I've got another 1,900 added, and there's 3 more levels to go that will add about another 3,000 on top of that. And the first 2 levels, if you haven't done them already, the first 2 levels are really quite quick to research. They're literally a couple of hours. I think the first one's even less than an hour, and they get slightly longer as you go through. So if you can rush through any research, it's going to boost your march capacity. The next area you can look at is, of course, your talent tree. Now, I'm going to show you this just for the sake of showing you this. I don't advocate this at all. But your talent tree, on the war talent tree, you've got war and economy. On the war one, you have, again, march capacity benefits. And there's a few of these, just like on the research tree, that you can increase your march capacity. And there's a really good one, actually, which is a talent you have to activate, which gives you a 10% boost, which lasts for 30 minutes. Now, if you are on the war tree, by all means use this just before you add your troops to the event, and that march capacity will be increased for the troops for the duration of the entire Showdown event. So do use that. But in general, I'd highly recommend everyone swap across to the economy tree because the benefits are far outweigh the war one, because it's got huge boost to your gathering speeds. It's got huge boost to your healing speeds, which is really useful for things like the Capital Clash and the Bunker and Fortress events. Um, and of course, one of the biggest benefits is the improvements to your construction speeds, which we covered on the last video. So if you are on the war tree, I do recommend swapping to the economy tree, but if you are going to be swapping whilst you're in the war tree, use the talents to improve your march capacity before you swap over. Okay, so I'll just quickly touch on this. It's not specific to the Showdown event, but of course, if you level up your chief, so I'm currently on level 35, I've got enough EXP tokens to level up maybe 3 times, maybe 4 times, and that will give me more talents that I can use, and hopefully that will give me some big benefits. It's actually the infected event on at the moment, so we have a few hours left of that, the infected cleanup. I'll be using all of my stamina to target the infected, and then using my EXP tokens here. Once my stamina is down to 0, I'm going to use these to level up, and that will refill my stamina bar. I'll use that stamina again on the infected event, level up, and again, and that will get me plenty of points for the infected event, and it will get me plenty more talent points, which are always useful. So back to the good stuff. So we've spoke about the march capacity and how you can deal with that in the talents and the research. We're going to now have a look at your actual hero selection, and then also have a look at your troop selection. So in terms of heroes, I think everyone in our alliance will have similar heroes to use, and the ones to be using for this is definitely Maddie. Actually, let me just show you on the other screen, it might make a bit more sense. Okay, so this is the updated screens for choosing your army. So you've got your infantry, your riders, and your hunters. Your infantry, you get to choose your captain, so you choose a hero for this. And as you can see from this screen here, they're quite a big difference in their actual individual power for each one. But the actual march capacity, which is very important, is very similar between all three. It's slightly higher for me on Chef. But Rusty does have one of the perks which gives you a sort of 20 or 25% boost to your damage. Now, being infantry, they don't have high damage, so that's not such a big benefit as it would be if it was for a rider or a hunter hero. So in this case, I'm going to stick with Chef because he's more powerful and he's got a slightly higher march capacity. If we go down to the riders, Maddie, again, they all have similar march sizes. Maddie's a lot more powerful than all the others, and so for that reason alone, I'm going to choose Maddie. And then if we go down to the hunters, because Eva has that 25% boost to her the total damage for all the troops, I'm going to go with Eva because your hunters do a lot of damage, so that 25% boost makes a big difference. So in terms of choosing your troops, now it's balanced them out for me already, and it's gone quite heavy for riders and for hunters, and quite low for infantry. So I'm just going to reset that. Okay, I'm going to have to do it manually. What I want to aim for is quite a balance between them. I want to have roughly 1/3 infantry, 1/3 riders, and 1/3 hunters. But as I mentioned earlier, I'm in the process of upgrading my tier 8 to tier 9. So in terms of my infantry, they're only tier 8. I don't have any tier 9 infantry right now, and I've got 23,000 tier 8 ones. So I'm going to put all of those in. I'm not going to bother with the couple of hundred lower tier ones. And then now my infantry is up to as high as that's going to go. It's not going to be 1/3 of my army because I just don't have enough infantry right now. So what I'm going to do now is just balance out with my tier 9 troops between my hunters and my riders. So I've got 31,000 there. Okay, and that's done. So I've now got all of my tier 9 hunters and riders in. I've got my tier 8 infantry in, but I think I've still got a bit more march capacity. You can see down here I can fit another 8,000 troops in. So I'm just going to put, just for now, 4,000 banshees and about 4,000 hawks, and now my march capacity is full. So I just need to reselect my heroes. So I clicked reset a second ago. Okay, I'm happy with that, and I'm going to click March. So what it's going to do now, when I click March, it's going to remember the exact amount of troops that I've selected here, the exact heroes, and it's going to use those for the duration of the event. Now, what I've got happening, as I mentioned earlier, is I'm currently upgrading my troops. So they're going from tier 8 to tier 9, and I'm going to want to have my tier 9 troops added to the event once they're built. So many people will actually register your troops as soon as the event's announced, and then it might be, I think, sort of 24 or 48 hours later when the registration phase finishes. And in those 24 or 48 hours, you will have built loads more troops, and so you want to go back, especially if you're upgrading from tier 7 to tier 8 or tier 8 to tier 9, for example. You want to go back and make sure you've got your best troops in. So to do that, you come back to this screen here. You click on where your troops are on the same lane, and you click Manage Troops. So once you click Manage Troops, you get the ability again to reselect your heroes and reselect your troops. So if I suddenly now have a bunch of, if these 10,000 Banshees are now 10,000 tier 9 troops, I can adjust this to what I want it to be, and then I can click March again, and it would then remember the new updated troop list that will be used for the duration of the event. So that's a really important part to remember. I think just as a good practice, just in case you forget about the event, always register for it as soon as you can when the event comes out, so you're definitely included. But always try and remember to come back to the event again in the few hours before registration finishes to make sure you've got your best troops in there. If you've been unfortunate, if you've been in a rather big battle and lost a bunch of troops, then of course don't bother, because when you reassign your troops, you'll be reassigning less troops with less power, and so it's actually a negative thing. But for most people, most of the time, you will have built more troops or upgraded your troops, and so that's generally a really good practice to get into. So the other thing I want to talk about is lane selection. Now, the way the Alliance wins this event is by capturing 2 or more flags. So you've got the left lane, the centre lane, and the right lane. There's 1 flag in each. Our left lane battles their right lane, and whoever has the most victories, so there's 20 battles in each. I'll just click on troops so you can see how this works. So our 20 most powerful people in this lane will battle, starting with the weakest. Our weakest will battle their weakest, then the next, then the next, then the next. And whoever wins the most, so if we win 11 and they win 9, we win the most, we get the flag. And if we get 2 or 3 of the flags from each of the lanes, then we win that match against the opponent, and then we get to get some points for that, and then we get to fight another opponent. So to improve our chances of winning as an alliance, we want to make sure that we have the best possible chance of winning 2 lanes, and the way we do that is by making sure we have our strongest people in 2 of the lanes, and then have the 3rd lane as a weak lane. So for us, the Warriors on State 270, the way we're doing this is our left lane and our centre lane start off with all of the strong people in, and the right hand lane is the one with all the weak people in. Now I'm actually using my auto count, so I do need to switch all of my troops to this lane over here to comply with that. And if you've accidentally done the wrong one, I just showed you there, you just click on which lane you want to be in, click switch lane, and boom, it moves your troop selection across from one to the other. So we've spoke about march capacity, we spoke about heroes, we spoke about your troop selection and your lane selection. What I also want to show you guys is the rewards you get for this and how you can spend them in the store. So just to go back from this screen here, you've got the rewards and rules section here, and you've got 4 tabs along the top that has plenty of information in it. It's got the Showdown rules, which just confirms, for example, that your troops won't die. Even if you lose your battles, it doesn't actually affect your troops in game. You won't have any wounded or any dead troops from this. And it talks about the tier rewards. So we're currently the gold tier. We want to get up to the platinum tier. That's why it's important we do this well, because the rewards are simply better. You get more speed ups, you get more resources, you get more gold coins for the store. And you also get individual solo rewards as well. So the better you do, it's better for you and better for the alliance as well. So one of the things you get from the from participating and from doing well is you get these gold coins. So I think last time we had 11,400 coins, if I remember correctly. And what these gold coins are for is they've added in this button up here, the good swap, which is essentially a store to spend the coins for the showdown. And so if I had, say, 10,000 golden coins, you can use them on these items here. Now it's got many items here which are hard to get hold of, they're expensive, they're difficult to come by, and so being able to get them from this store is actually really, really useful. So for example, with 10,000 coins, I can get 10,000 alloys, which is huge. I think that would probably cost you about £30–40 to buy them from the actual shop. So to have the option to get them for free with these coins is brilliant. I always spend them on the chief gear at this point in time. Also construction. You need to get your construction up as high as you can. But generally speaking, I focus on the chief gear. And so what I would normally do is, rather than just picking one randomly, I'll go and have a look and see from my chief gear which I need the most. So for me to upgrade my next item, I'm short on the adhesives, so that's what I'll be buying next from the store. So that's why it's important to do well. Is there anything else to talk about here? I think we've probably covered everything. So yeah, no, I think that's pretty much it. So hopefully you've all learned something here. The last little thing I mention, this is only really for our R4s in our team, and also if you're an alliance leader, for you as well to learn from. When you're in the middle of the event, so once, for example, you've had the first battle, you'll get some notifications and you can get your rewards, etc. from that battle, and then there's a bit of time before it goes into the second battle, and I think you have 5 or 6 battles each time the event's on. After that first battle, you can see what your opponent did. So the next opponent you're up against, you can see how they fought in the last one. And what you're looking for is if they have that same strategy of having 2 strong lanes and 1 weak lane, you want to try and utilize that. So you want to make sure that you move your strong troops. You want to balance it. So if you think that your weak troops can take their weak troops, then you try and match them up. If not, and you want to make sure you get at least 1 lane, then you want to move one of your stronger guys to where you think they're going to have their weaker guys, on the assumption that your strongest lane will beat their next strongest lane. So so you can have a look and see what they've done, and you can swap your own orders around. So where we have the strong left and center lane, after the first or the second battle, I can swap them around, and for example the troops that are currently in the right lane, the weak lane, I can move those to the center or the left. So keep an eye on that. Have a look when you're in the middle of an event and see it in real time, see what they're doing, see what you can do, and try and get the best possible results. So I hope you found this video useful. Feel free to share it. And for everyone in our clan, let's make sure we get in the right lanes and we make sure we're as strong as possible, so we can move up from the gold to the platinum tier, so we can get the best possible rewards and the most from the store. So thanks for watching. Cheers.